I'm Jason Lester. I'm from Kailua Kona, Hawaii. Welcome to my crib. I first got to Hawaii in 2005. I came here to watch the Ironman World Championships, and went back to Manhattan Beach, California, and sold everything and packed up and got here as quick as possible. Wanted a more simple life. I wanted to be able to train every day, all day, not have any restrictions of roads or have to deal with busy traffic. But I knew as soon as I got here that it was a place that I needed to be. So an Ironman is a 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and a 26-mile run, and you do that all within one day. An Ultraman is double the distance, and we spread that out over the course of 3 days, and they give you an allowance of 12 hours a day to finish each segment. And then the past 4 years we've been doing Epic 5, which is 5 iron distance triathlons on 5 Hawaiian islands in 5 consecutive days. Epic 5 was an event that I started back in 2009. It was the same year that I had I was honored with the ESPY Award by ESPN, and it was my way to give back to the islands for supporting me. Again, we do it for my foundation, the Never Stop Foundation, where we go back out into the communities, speaking to kids and mentoring them to never stop believing and dreaming in the goals and passions that they have. 12 years old, I could tell as a young age that my dad was grooming me to be a baseball player. He was the president of our little league, so I think we found out early on that I had a gift for baseball. So we went that route, and just being the normal 12-year-old kid, it was Halloween night. Went out trick-or-treating with my buddies, went to a friend's party. And I remember the night. I remember rolling up on the curb. A lady ran a red light. She was speeding, wasn't wearing her glasses, and next thing you know, I'm waking up in the middle of the road trying to move and to get up because there was oncoming traffic and stuff like that. I flew 130 feet in the air. Both my shoes got knocked off and went the other direction, and 21 broken bones, collapsed lung, paralyzed right arm. I woke up in the emergency room and they were draining my lungs so that I could breathe. And then I spent the next 3 months in the hospital rehabbing, and I think it was probably the darkest moment of my life. The first thing I wanted to do was get back out on the baseball field. Obviously, one of my limbs hadn't come back, so that was something that was new and fresh to me. But the body and the mind is a very powerful tool, and rehabbing went well. But 8 months later, my father suffered a major heart attack and passed away. I think the last thing in the world I wanted to focus on and to believe was that God had a purpose for my life. I'm a firm believer that everything's up in the head and that it's all a mental game. But I think my goals really started when I got to high school. It just proved to myself that I wasn't going to let this challenge ruin my destiny. God gives us a gift. But He's not going to walk us through our gifts. He gives us our gifts, and it's up to us on what we're going to do with those. So, sophomore year, my baseball coach pulled me aside and said, I think you have a gift for running. I think you should try and go out for the cross-country team. And I actually hated running. I hated the way it felt, hated my lungs burning, hated the way it made my body and legs feel. But I found out soon that it was my therapy. It was my counseling session. The longer that I was out there, training and running, I was able to cope with what I was going through because I'd never really dealt with my dad's loss. I've been with Manatech for 8 years. It's been an amazing relationship, but at the same time, the products are by none the best products for my performance and for my recovery. And I feel like we're at an integral part in my career right now because it's the first time in my career that I'm willing to speak about what Jason Lester takes in order to bike 5,000 miles across the United States, run 3,500 miles across the United States, do 5 Ironmans in 5 consecutive days on 5 Hawaiian islands. I started racing when I was 16 years old, I've been fortunate enough not to suffer any injuries, and it's because I listen to my body. Nutrition plays a huge role in that, and you know, my very first passion was nutrition. I'm a firm believer that we're a machine. You know, whatever we put into our body is what the outcome's going to be. I've been a vegetarian for 21 years. I've been a vegan the past 5 years, and it's for the sole purpose that, you know, I want to put the best into my body. You know, my results obviously show for what I'm intaking in my body, and you know, I've been taking Manatech products for the past 8 years, and you know, running across America, I took over 21 containers of Ambertose for the sole purpose that I knew that my body was going to need the glyconutrients and the you know, the plant sugars that I, you know, need to fire off correctly and proper. So, you know, I don't shy away from, you know, from what I take. I run long, I train long. When I take a supplement, I don't necessarily take a supplement on what it's going to do for me now. It's what it's going to do for me tomorrow. And it allows me to get back on the bike and go bike another 8 hours, or it allows me to go run another 20 miles, you know, the next day, and it's for recovery. It's been a lifelong mission of mine to run across the United States. A lot of people think that I just woke up one day and I'm like, you know, let's go run across the US. It's taken 20 years. Running across America took me 72 consecutive days. We started at the San Francisco City Hall, and we ended up at the New York City Hall, which is the official course across America. I did it for the sole purpose of raising funds and awareness for Hurricane Sandy. So obviously that was my driver and my motivation. Every day we woke up at 5:30 on the spot. We ate, we were out the door by 6, and the goal was to run from sunup to past sundown as long as we could go. You know, I'd say the average day was 17 hours. You know, I broke that up in 50-minute increments where I'd run for 50, and I would, you know, eat and fuel and use the restroom for 10 minutes, you know, out of the hour. So, you know, I had an amazing crew. You have to remember, they're up longer than me. They're up before me, and they don't go to bed until after me. So, you know, without them, I'm nothing. You know, these things to people, you know, it doesn't register in their head. There hasn't been very many athletes that have ran from San Francisco to New York, you know, in 72 consecutive days. But now it's time for me to branch out and to share not only my wisdom, but also share my products that I take, because, you know, you come from a point in your career, in your life, where you need to continue to share and to grow.